Imagine walking into your boss's office and giving notice because your writing has become your primary revenue stream. Or your podcast is successful enough that you can quit your day job. Or maybe having your marketing on autopilot so you can spend your time on the art career you love rather than on marketing. Are you a creative person who's great at what you do, but marketing makes you freeze? You're not alone. I help passionate, purpose-driven creatives overcome fear, find their brand voice, and build a marketing strategy that works for them. Oh yeah, I also make it easy and painless. It's never too late to grow the business you've been dreaming about. Book an introductory call with me, Rob Southgate, at southgatesmallbusiness.com today. And let's take the pain out of marketing together. Horsemen Publications is back at Indy PopCon with 14 incredible authors and more books than ever before. Meet and get books signed by Erica Lance, Valerie Willis, J.M. Paquette, Eric Deckers, Rick Hines, Morgan Moreau and Katie Jenkins, Nick Smith, P.C. Nottingham, Andy T. Hanson, Chelsea Burton Dunn, and K.N. Fitzwater. Catch them all at the Four Horsemen booth at Indy PopCon. PopCon Indy runs June 25th through the 29th, 2025 at the Indianapolis Convention Center. Get more information and order tickets at popcon.us/popcon-indy or click the link in this episode's show notes. But wait, we can't start yet. You need to know about today's podcast. This is an interview from 2024 that was only shared through newsletters and Facebook pages. Since we now have an Inkblots podcast and don't want you to miss out on these fantastic interviews, I decided to share them here. Make sure to check the current lineup at events that we talk about on these shows. You want to make sure that the authors we're interviewing are appearing this year. Okay, back to the podcast. Welcome to Inkblots, the show where I interview authors about their lives, writing, and the books they love. Be sure to follow the Inkblots podcast on Substack. Not only can you listen to the latest episodes, but our Substack also has interview transcriptions and links to books and other items that we talk about on the show. If you like what we're doing, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. It really helps us and our sponsors out. Oh, and leave comments. We really do read and respond to every one. Now, let's get on with the show. Welcome to Inkblots. Today I've got Andy Hanson and a child with us.
My little 13-month-old is here. I'm the one watching him, so he's in the back.
All right. So get ready. His 13-month-old is going to chime in, and that's okay. And Andy is going to be at PopCon Louisville with us. This is 2024 for those of you that are like, wait a minute, is that happening now? It's happening 2024. And we're going to get to know him a little bit so you can get to know the author and find out what his book's about. And that's where we're going to go from. So, Andy, why don't you tell people who you are and give them a little backstory?
Well, I just started writing a couple years ago, and I went into the Army out of high school and kind of just really was kind of finding my way for a while. And then I found theater. And from that, I started writing my own plays. And then my wife talked me into writing a novel. And now here we are from that, basically. I don't really have too interesting a backstory beyond that, but that's kind of the roundabout way of how I got to where I am right now.
I think it's a pretty interesting backstory. You're a science fiction, or at least your first book here that's coming out is a science fiction book, but it looks like you have a lot of interests, fantasy, sci-fi, horror. It's kind of all over the place from what I'm reading here. Is that true? Or are you kind of like just all into all of it, but sci-fi is where you started?
Yes, I don't really have a genre. Like I find a really good author basically, and I stick with him. Teddy, I'm sorry about this. And I like Lee Child. And then I'll read like all of his stuff, and then I'll read all George R. Martin's. And I don't really care about the genre so much. It's really just clicking around to a story and some characters. And whoever can provide that is the author I stick with. But I do like historical fiction, and I do of course love sci-fi, and I love fantasy. So I am very eclectic in that way. But I don't really have like a specific genre I stick to. And I actually got a short story collection that I'm working on now, and I'm trying to do a story basically in like all genres. I'm
Oh,
just
cool.
trying my hand at different genres. So it's been I don't really have like I grew up watching movies basically. That was kind of my foray. I didn't really start reading until I got into my 20s. And then when I found books, I found, wow, what I've been missing. But for the most part, I just stuck with directors that I really liked and storytellers that I really liked. And I don't really the genre never really bothered or was an issue for me actually.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so it's not like sometimes I talk to authors and it's like their whole life was geared towards writing horror or
Right.
geared towards writing romance. You kind of like it all, but you started with science fiction.
Yeah,
Your first book, which is coming out in October, is Calamity, and it's the first book in the Despot Chronicles. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And have you got a series mapped out? Do you know where it's
Oh, I
going?
actually just finished writing the third book. Uh,
Oh, exciting.
I got that turned into the editors, so hopefully we'll have them all out within a few couple of years or so. But yeah, I got them all finished. So I had the story in my head. That's why I started with this story. It was a story that I've had in my head for a really long time, and I thought if I was gonna, my first thing should be something that I had a firm grasp on. So that's why I started with this story. I'm really attached to it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. But yeah, that's basically why it started in the science fiction genre. I don't care if they want to peg me as a science fiction writer. That'll, I can stick around in that genre
Sure.
too. So it's all good.
Well, I find that a lot of genres blend anyway, you know.
Yeah.
I see you're a Star Wars fan. There are Star Wars horror novels, you know.
Oh yeah.
There are Star Wars romance novels. It's like you can play in science fiction, you can play in horror, you can play in whatever and kind of blend other things in. So,
That's
you
mostly
know,
just like the furniture George R. R. Martin calls it. It's like where the story's set, but that doesn't. The story is the characters and what they're going through, and it doesn't really matter
right.
the setting. You know what I mean? It can be on a moon, far off or something like that, or just in your neighbor's backyard. It's just yeah, it's the story that matters.
So, can you tell us what Calamity is about?
Yeah, Calamity is the first book in the Despot Chronicles, and it a plague takes over the earth suddenly and turning people basically into cannibals, mindless cannibals, and zombie-esque. And there's one company that had this whole time in secret been building a lunar station. So when the outbreak breaks out, they retreat to the lunar station, take a few, all their employees with them, and about 500 people escape the carnage and go to the moon. And then they start sending back their security team back to Earth to find samples of infected people so they can synthesize an antidote. And the security team keep getting sent back. Eventually, they pick up a survivor who kind of talks them all into that they're being toyed with and being sent down on useless missions. And so they decide to stop listening to the company in charge and try to establish their own government, basically. And I don't want to give the whole plot of the
No,
story.
no, don't give it all away.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of. That's how the first one begins, and then I set it up as calamity, control, and collapse as sort of the three
Ooh,
stages
cool.
of a fascist takeover, and that's kind of the calamities and what the calamity they take advantage of, and then my second book will be control. And then my third book, I think Son's a fan of, obviously, will be Collapse. Well, it all comes crashing down. So,
Yeah, yeah. I love it. Now, the book comes out October 26th. Calamity comes out October 26th. I know PopCon is earlier than that. It's August 23rd through the 25th. I believe, and I don't have confirmation on here, but I think we both had confirmation earlier. So I'm going to go off that. I believe there are going to be copies of your book there at PopCon. You can meet Andy, you can get it signed. If by some chance the books aren't there, you can pre-order right there, meet Andy. I'm sure he'd be happy to sign maybe a book plate or something for you. And Andy
man,
doesn't know what he's doing yet, but he's going to be on at least two panels, very likely more than that. One that I know he's going to do is one with other science fiction writers, and you guys are going to have a roundtable discussion. So you definitely want to watch our social media for Writers Row. We're going to announce all the panels, who's on what, and you're going to want to check this out because we do this science fiction one, and every time we've done an event, we've done this science fiction panel. It's been one of my favorites because the science fiction authors always get way into it. They have a lot to talk about,
Oh yeah,
and I mean, you guys are
we're
uber
not, I'm
nerds,
sure.
so
Yeah.
no offense. I think we could say a skunk smells its own hole, right? When I call you an uber nerd.
Oh no, for sure. I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
So Andy, what inspired you to actually start writing a novel? You said that you were writing screenplays and you were or stage plays you were writing, but to take that leap, what was
Yeah.
that tipping point?
I guess it was it's kind of funny, but I was just trying to get my wife to read anything that I wrote to see if I was any good, just somebody to read something that I wrote. And she told me, just I can't read screenplays. Write a book and I'll read and I said, if I'm really thinking of being a writer, I should start with a book. So I basically just kind of talked myself into it, hyped myself up, started it. It started off, the first chapter turned out to be not anything close to what it ended up being, but I
Yeah.
liked it and loved the joy of it. And it was kind of just basically, I was trying to get my wife to tell me if I was any good. So that's how it got to be. So,
Well, very good. I know that I've talked to a lot of authors that have different, you know, backstories like that. How did they get into it? And what was it? One that comes to mind is seeing Joe Hill talk, and somebody asked that question from the audience, and he said, "Well, his dad's Stephen King."
right,
That's
yeah.
one way in, but he said he didn't think he was a novelist. He said that to him was the craziest thing. He's like, I was writing short stories, and he said, I thought I don't have a novel in me,
Yes.
and he he said he was writing, I think it was Fireman or something like that. And he said he was writing, and all of a sudden he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I just wrote 400 pages. That's a novel.
Right. Yeah.
And he realized he was able to do it. And I think that's just really interesting what the entry point is for people. And the fact that you're going back to do short stories when a lot of authors like to start there and build in.
Yeah. I don't
Yep.
know. I guess I just didn't know well enough to know any better that I just started with a novel. And like I said, I had the story in my head, the broader story for a long time. So it was kind of,
And you went, I'm going to write a novel, but I'm going to write 10 of them. So,
right. Yeah, exactly.
so, okay, here's a tough question. Since you do like all the different genres and you read so many different people, who would you say right now, this moment, are your three favorite all-time authors?
Well, George R. R. Martin. Uh, it's got to be Bernard Cornwell and Lee Child.
Mm. All right. All right. Very cool. Have you read pretty much everything by them?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love. I'm a historical fiction guy. Nobody does it better than Bernard Cornwell. Most of his stuff gets turned into television shows nowadays. It's so good. I just love the character that Jack Reacher that I could just follow whenever a story comes out. I don't put the book down until it's over with.
Wow.
And George R. R. Martin, I've just loved ever since I read Game of Thrones, and then I went back and read all of his earlier stuff, and definitely been a kind of, I guess, a tutorial in and of itself is just reading his. That's how I learned to write, is basically just listening and reading his books. I'm a letter carrier, so during the day I'll listen to Audible and just listen to books all day, and that really helps with my writing. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, and it burns the time too.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is your first writer's row.
Mhm.
So you're going to get thrown into the fire and have to learn a lot of things. I'm not going to scare you off because I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to walk away and go, I want to come to every one of them because it's so much fun. You've seen who's coming to Writer's Row. Is there anyone that you are most excited to meet in person?
I guess I don't want to pick a name or say it on here or anything like that. I've read the list and everything, and I guess I don't want to say I'm excited to meet this author, and then I meet another one, and they're like, hurt by it. So I'll pass.
Oh, come on. Nobody's going to be hurt by it.
Well, I don't know.
I had one yesterday that I was interviewing C.K. Westbrook, and she was so excited to meet P.C. Nottingham. She's like, oh my God, I love his book so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm kind of shaken right now, actually, just kind of thinking about meeting those guys. So
Okay. Well, we'll just say it was me that you're most excited. No, we already know that's
for
not true.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You'll be like, oh, what a disappointment. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm going to ask you an odd question. Um, we're going to a convention. Are you a convention goer?
I've never been, honestly.
Oh,
No.
you've never been. Oh, this is really exciting then. Okay, so this is your dream convention, which you in your head have made up, obviously, how it's going to work. Who would you most want to meet? And I'm going to add a fold to that and get to have a conversation with.
Yeah, conversation with.
And it can be anybody. This is a dream convention.
Well, my dream convention, I wanted to go to a Star Wars one for sure, just because I'm a biggest Star Wars geek ever. So I guess I'll stay in the Star Wars. And then if I could actually, I really, Matt, or not, Dave Filoni.
Oh, Dave Filoni, yeah.
If I could just talk to him, well, feel like we could talk about Star Wars for a really long time. And that's all I could, that would be my dream right there.
That's a good one. I think he'd be a really fun talk.
Yeah, I feel like what he, like after he took over with the Clone Wars and just everything that Star Wars has become since, I've just been really happy with. So I'd be really intrigued to talk to him. And George Lucas, of course, meet Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford.
Basically anybody from Star Wars.
Yeah, right. If I was at the Star Wars one, right, for sure.
The guy who held the boom mic in the little pink shorts, I'll go with him. Pretty much anybody.
Stories, right. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a funny meme that I saw when Mandalorian was out, and it was, they had two kids playing with their Star Wars toys, and it said, the early writing sessions for The Mandalorian, and it was, they put across the kids are like totally engaged, and it said, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they're like, I went, yeah, that's probably accurate.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm really Jon Favreau, take what he's done with it too has been awesome. The Mandalorian and all the spin-offs from there, the Ahsoka show, is really, really cool. So yeah.
Very cool. That's a great answer. Dave Filoni is actually, of all the times I've asked this on my show, Alley Chats, nobody has said Dave Filoni, and I'm surprised. Now that you've said him, I'm like, oh, that what makes perfect sense.
I thought it was going to be the rote answer, but I guess
So in science fiction, who would you say, as a writer, is your biggest inspiration?
Well, I mean, I want to say like Philip K. Dick, just because or like Heinlein with like Star Trek Troopers and stuff like that. But I'm more like, I don't, yeah, geez. I'll look at my stuff right now, and for the most part, it's a really eclectic collection. So
okay,
I don't really have a particular anybody who does, to me, like I keep rambling here, but
that's okay.
An answer out. Like Blade Runner was like a perfect novel, sci-fi novel to me.
Agreed.
I feel like if I'm gonna compare my stuff to the pinnacle, it would be Philip K. Dick, I guess.
That's a great answer.
I mean, the classic guys, the greats are great for a reason. So
yeah. Well, Philip Dick is one of those that, for me, whenever people start talking to me about science fiction, and they seem to talk about kind of fluffy science fiction stuff, a lot of times it's like an entry point. I always say, okay, get a Philip K. Dick short story collection and let that sink in. Mm-hmm. Because that is, his science fiction is deep and wide, but it is not inaccessible.
Yeah, it's not it's not like a hard read or anything like that. Or like it's too like you don't get lost in the what's in the minutia. You're stuck with the story, I guess. And I don't know how some of those guys put you in these incredible worlds, and they barely have to really do much exposition to get you to just be there already. And I really, he's a great example. I like Michael Crichton stuff too. Like,
oh yeah,
he's very highbrow with his how he presents his books, how he just his chapter breakdowns and like his prologues and stuff. And I'm really impressed every time I read a Michael Crichton book too, for sure.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, actually, you said you're a movie fan. You mentioned Michael Crichton. What would you say would be your like touchstone? I'm going to not even say science fiction. Your touchstone geek movies. Throw a couple of them out there that you're like, everybody has to see these, even if you know everybody's seen them.
Aliens, Princess Bride, um, uh, I guess the Monty Python movies, but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, those would be my. If you haven't seen them, then you go out right now, stop and go watch those movies.
Okay. I'm going to go deep then. I want you to give me, I want you to give me three that you don't think people have seen that you're like, dude, these movies.
I love being put on the spot like this, but I actually hate it because I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I didn't say I'm a nice guy about
five
this.
others that I should have said, but yeah. So I guess, man, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Okay, let's do it this way. Three horror movies that aren't like mainstream slashers. Three horror movies that you love.
I love Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, what a good choice, dude.
Yeah, that one was a really good one. I'm not really a super like slasher horror guy, but I do like staying in the genre. Doctor Sleep was done really good. They turned that into a really good movie. That Stephen King Shining.
Yeah, that's a Mike Flanagan film.
Yeah, okay. And I don't know if 12 Monkeys, I love anything like, speaking of Monty Python and Terry Gilliam, I love anything Terry Gilliam's done. I love that they're turning the time bandits into the show. I got to watch that.
Yeah, me too.
I saw that movie in 25 years, so I have to go back and I'm really excited about that. So I guess
I'm old. I saw it at the theater when it first came out, and it was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
And the fact that nothing happened with it after that, I kept saying like, this is so rich. Like you could have 30 movies and it wouldn't get old. Where's the comic book? Where's the novelizations? Where's the anything? There, it would make a great video game. But finally, now there's a show. Finally,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on that.
A lot of good content out these days. I always miss something, but yeah. I really love
go ahead.
Stuff, so I'm a big like Vikings show. The Vikings Valhalla show was really good. Like anything in that genre. I really love that new Rome show that they did. I thought that was done really well. Yeah, that Those About to Die. So if you can give me a good historical show, I'm there.
You're there. All right. Well, Andy, people can meet you at PopCon Louisville. It is coming up August, what did I say, 23rd through 25th. Yes, at the Kentucky International Convention Center. You can get tickets at popcon.us/popcon-Louisville, like you wrote that down. So go to the show notes and just click on the link and you can get your tickets. It's going to be a heck of a great time. And we have some amazing authors. Andy is one of them. This is like, you get to meet one of your heroes before anyone knows they're your hero. So come and meet Andy. Andy, one last question. I will put this in the show notes, so you don't need to give a million things, but what is the social media that most people that like you interact with the most on, that people can interact with you?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And I'll put those links in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Andy, thank you. I'm so excited to meet you at PopCon, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob.